Welcome back to the deep dive. You came to us with this incredible stack of sources detailing the 2025 Formula One season.
Right.
But we're not here to talk about who won the championship, are we? We're here for the financial carnage.
The brutal reality of it, yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to crown the, let's call it the Destroyers World Champion.
I love that. So our mission today is really to dive into the balance sheets, to look at the millions of dollars lost, not just the tenths of a second gained.
Exactly. We're going to focus on the 6 biggest accidents.
Yeah.
The ones that cost the teams over $1 million for a single crash.
$1 million. To even frame that, you have to understand what these parts actually cost. I mean, what breaks that adds up so fast?
Okay, yeah, we need some anchors here.
Yeah.
These are estimates, but they give you the scale, the survival cell, the monocoque that protects the driver. That's about $675,000.
Wow.
A gearbox is around $500,000. And the part we see shatter all the time, the front wing, that's $125,000. Gone.
Just like that.
So you can see how fast it adds up. And every dollar spent fixing a car is a dollar you can't spend on making it faster.
Yeah.
That's the cruel part of the budget cap.
Okay, so that brings us right into what you're calling the $1 million club. 24 races, but only 6 incidents broke that barrier. That tells you these were catastrophic.
Oh, they were budget-threatening moments. Let's start the countdown at number 6. This was Lando Norris qualifying in Saudi Arabia.
I remember that one.
The bill for McLaren came to $1,022,000.
See, that one looked fast, you know, over 200 kilometers per hour in turn 4, but it almost looked innocuous, a clean slide along the wall. Why was it so expensive?
Well, the interesting thing is it wasn't one big part. It was the sheer number of smaller, really sensitive components.
Okay.
Because the impact was lateral, all that energy went straight through the suspension, the steering column, the brakes. McLaren had to replace almost 20 different parts.
So it's like a cascade failure.
Exactly. You don't need to break the gearbox to hit $1 million. You just need enough secondary damage from one sideways hit.
And the cost just goes up from there.
Number 5 on the list.
For number 5, we head to Australia. Free practice 1, Oliver Bierman. This one came in at $1,117,000. It was a heavy impact, exiting turn 10 at over 240 kilometers per hour.
So unlike Lando's slide, this one involved the front and the rear of the car.
Yeah, much more complex. We're talking major damage to the floor, the rear wing, the side pods were touched.
But the power unit was okay?
The power unit survived, but the difference in cost, that, extra $95,000 between him and Norris, that's your floor. A heavily damaged floor is an enormous expense.
Right. And that's where all the performance is. Okay, let's move up the list. The next tier of wreckage is where we start talking about catastrophic structural failures.
We're crossing the $1.15 million mark now. We stay in practice for number 4. Lance Stroll, Netherlands GP. In turn 3, that's the same corner Ricciardo had his big one in 2023.
The very same. Now, the core crash cost, after you take out a separate little front wing incident he had, was $1,159,000.
What's the technical detail here? I remember he held on to the wheel.
He did. Unlike Ricciardo, he kept his hands on the wheel, which probably saved him from injury.
But not the car.
Oh, not the car. The Aston Martin had massive damage. Front wing, suspensions, the entire floor, and the rear wing. All gone.
So even doing the right thing as a pilot doesn't save the team money. Which brings us to number 3. And this is where the cost cap starts to get existential for a driver.
It really does. We're at the Japan GP with Jack DOOHAN. This was just catastrophic.
How fast was he going?
Over 300 kilometers an hour into turn 1. The impact registered 50 Gs. The car was, well, it was basically just destroyed.
The price tag for Alpine?
$1,342,000. And here's where the team's financial strategy comes in. Alpine said they replaced all parts except the power unit. But, and this is key, they repaired the chassis. They didn't replace it.
Why is that so important? You said a new monocoque is $675,000 on its own.
Exactly. It's a huge gamble. If the chassis integrity is compromised at all, you have to replace it for safety. But if you can repair it, you save all that money.
So they saved the cash, but what did it cost them in time?
It cost them R&D time. They had to pour resources into structural checks and repair work instead of development. But if they'd replaced it, that crash would have been over $2 million.
So we know DOOHAN lost his seat. Was this bill the reason?
I mean, you have to think so. This crash plus another one in Australia for over $700,000 meant his bill was over $2 million in just 7 races.
Wow.
When you cost a team that much under the budget cap, that's not a performance metric, it's a liability. It almost certainly cost him his drive.
That's a sobering thought. Okay, now we're into the top two, the most expensive of the year. We're talking near total vehicle reconstructions.
Number 2 belongs to Yuki Tsunoda at the Emilia-Romagna GP.
Ah, the famous Skrketta, the rolling, tumbling wreck in Turn 3.
An unbelievably expensive tumble. It cost the team $1,837,000.
Wait, how did that cost $500,000 more than DOOHAN's crash? Visually, DOOHAN's looked worse.
The powertrain. That's the answer.
DOOHAN's team saved the engine.
Precisely. Yuki's car needed a complete rebuild, a new survival cell, a new monocoque, but also a new internal combustion engine, a new MGUH, new MGUK.
The motor generator units, the heart of the hybrid system.
The most sophisticated, sensitive, and expensive parts. They're just not designed for the kind of violent G-forces in a rollover. Add a new battery, a new ECU. You've basically bought a new car.
And that one crash, that $1.8 million crash, was only about half of his total for the year.
It's a brutal statistic, isn't it? Across 7 other incidents, his total bill for the season hit $3,497,000.
It's just incredible. Okay, that leaves number 1. The top of the list. Gabi Bortoleto at the Brazil GP.
Yeah, that crash was spectacular in the absolute worst way.
Just the main incident alone. What was the cost?
$2,142,000. The single most expensive crash of the year. It registered a total of 91 Gs.
91? I can't even comprehend that.
There's a 34 Gs in the first hit, then a second impact of 57 Gs.
And what did that force do to the car?
The physics were devastating. The sources say the force was so immense, so rotational, that Bortoleto's own knee ripped the steering column completely out of the car structure.
My God. He was okay, though.
He was cleared medically, amazingly, but the car was a total write-off. And for Sauber, the weekend got even worse.
How?
He had another incident on Sunday. When you add the cost of that, his bill for the Brazil weekend alone was $2,359,000.
That's a quarter of their development budget. Gone. In 3 days.
Pretty much.
All right, let's look at the final season tallies. We've seen the accidents. Who is the official 2025 Destroyers champion?
With a final bill of $3,976,000, the champion is Gabi Bortoleto.
Nearly $4 million. Wow. Followed by TSUNODA, then Norris.
That's the top 3.
But we have to talk about the other end of the spectrum, the budget heroes, the guys who are fast and safe.
The contrast is genuinely staggering. Look at Max Verstappen.
Okay.
His total repair cost for the entire season was just $450,000.
Wait. Less than half of what Lando Norris spent on one single crash?
Less than half.
That just shows his value, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He's the fastest driver, and he's also the cheapest.
It's like he creates budget. Compared to Bortoleto, Max Verstappen effectively gives Red Bull an extra $3.5 million for performance development just by not crashing.
Who else was on that list of heroes?
George Russell, Esteban Ocon, even the rookie Andrea Kimi Antonelli kept his bill under $1 million, which is impressive. And Fernando Alonso, of course, showing the value of experience.
So for the teams, who took the Constructors' Destroyers title?
That dubious honor goes to Alpine. A cumulative repair bill of $5,348,000.
$5.3 million. And what was their return on that investment? How many points did they score?
Just 20.
20 points. That's financial devastation. That's money they couldn't spend on the new floor, the 2026 simulator, hiring engineers.
It completely hobbled them. They were constantly playing catch-up, just trying to replace broken parts instead of developing new ones.
Any final stats? What were the most expensive and cheapest races of the year?
No surprise, Brazil was the most expensive GP at over $4.3 million in total damages.
Mostly Bortoleto's fault.
Mostly. And the cheapest, in what can only be described as a financial miracle, was Hungary.
How much?
$0. Not a single reported damage claim for the entire weekend.
A perfect weekend for the accountants. So the big takeaway here is pretty clear. In Formula One, mistakes aren't just lost track positions anymore.
No, they're multi-million-dollar liabilities that can cripple a team's budget and, as we saw with DOOHAN, literally end a driver's career. Speed just isn't enough in the cost cap era.
Right.
And that leads to a final thought for you to mull over. We know the new cars and engines are going to be even more expensive. So how are teams going to handle drivers who consistently run up bills over $1 million a season? Will that, cost efficiency become just as important as raw speed when it comes to signing contracts?
A very interesting and very expensive thought. Thanks for diving deep with us on the 2025 Destroyers World Championship. We'll catch you next time.